We saw Angel Reese play. We saw Hull play. We saw Enrique. We saw Aliyah Boston. We saw Chelsea Gray.
Did you see what Aliyah Boston just did to Angel Reese? She didn't just secure the win. She sent a clear statement to the entire basketball community. Boston's performance was so commanding that it left people questioning how Reese could even be compared to players like Caitlin Clark. Now, you might be wondering what made this game stand out. Let me explain. It wasn't just about the final score. It was about Boston showing that she's on a whole different level. We're going to break down exactly how she did it, from her impenetrable defense to that unforgettable moment when she asserted herself in the game. You're not going to want to miss this analysis.
She's a good passer. She's smart. She makes good decisions.
You know how they say defense wins championships? Aliyah Boston just showed us why. In this highly anticipated 3-3 game, all eyes were on Angel Reese. But as soon as Boston hit the court, it was clear she was there to shut Reese down. You might wonder how intense it could get, but Boston wasn't just playing defense. She was anticipating every move. Whether Reese tried to cut or post up, Boston was right there, blocking her at every turn. It was a masterclass in defense.
Just goes, and she hit a game-tying shot to send it to overtime. She literally just goes, you know what, I'm scoring every single time on you.
But here's where it gets even more impressive. Boston wasn't just relying on her strength. She was outsmarting Reese too. She'd get right in Reese's face, making it impossible for her to find a rhythm. You could see the frustration building with every possession. It felt like a chess match, with Boston always staying several steps ahead. It's hard to believe, but Reese, known for her scoring ability, couldn't get a clean shot off for most of the game. That's how suffocating Boston's defense was. She was always in the right spot, hands up, body position perfect, never giving Reese an opening. It wasn't just good defense. It was a textbook example of how to dominate on that side of the ball.
Aliyah be able to step out, play away from the basket, garden, do some guarding in space. And I made a tweet. She's going to get even more comfortable doing that. She's going to deepen her bag. We saw All-Star Weekend, bro. Bringing the ball up the court, setting the table so that Cece could get the ball and then get it back to her. And that incredible play does not happen if Aliyah's not comfortable bringing the ball down and operating in space.
Let's talk about those rebounds. Boston was grabbing them like they were meant for her, no matter where they came from. Whether it was on the defensive or offensive end, if there was a missed shot, you could bet Boston would secure the ball. Her timing was flawless, her positioning perfect. It was as if the ball was drawn to her. You might wonder, was it just luck or did Reese have an off day? But no, this was all Boston. Her physicality was through the roof. She was delivering hard checks, refusing to let Reese get any space. It wasn't just a strategy. It felt personal, like Boston had something to prove, and she was using Reese to showcase her unmatched defensive dominance.
She's comfortable from mid. She seemed a little bit hesitant to shoot the long mid.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, Boston dominated on defense, but surely that's where it ends, right? Wrong. There's one moment that took this game from intense to absolutely legendary. Can you guess what Boston did that left everyone stunned? Picture this, the game's heating up, tensions are through the roof. Boston and Reese find themselves face to face in the paint, the air thick with anticipation. And then, out of nowhere, Boston does something no one saw coming. She doesn't back down, doesn't flinch. She puts her hand right on Reese's face. Can you believe it? In that split second, the entire arena erupts. Fans are losing their minds, and players on both sides are in shock. Social media explodes, and everyone, from casual fans to analysts, had something to say about it. Here's where it gets interesting. People couldn't decide if Boston crossed a line or made one of the biggest power moves in basketball history. Some praised her guts, saying it showed her unshakable confidence and leadership. Others questioned whether it was unsportsmanlike. But let's break it down. This wasn't some random act. Boston was sending a clear message. She was saying, "I'm not afraid of anyone." It was as if she was telling Reese, "You can getting all the attention, but watch this."
Just being physical with her. Coach in Scout, Coach just talked about how she's relentless on the boards, and we knew that, and so just putting a body on her, making sure that even if we don't get it, as long as she doesn't get it, it's okay. Just because she just crashed the board so well and is just so focused on it.
And you know what? That moment wasn't just about the game anymore. It became something much bigger. It sparked debates all over the basketball world, with people discussing player rivalries in women's basketball like never before. Boston's hand on Reese's face wasn't just a gesture, it was a symbol of her competitive fire, her refusal to back down from any challenge. You know Caitlin Clark's style, right? That unstoppable energy, a fire that burns through everyone on the court. Well, Boston just brought all of that, and more, to this game. It was as if she was channeling Clark's intensity, bringing that same fierce attitude we come to expect from Iowa's superstar. Every rebound, every block, every score, Boston was playing with that same level of passion. She wasn't just out there to play, she was out there to prove something, and prove it she did. You're probably thinking, but wait, Clark wasn't even there, and that's the point. Boston didn't need Clark physically present. She played with that same never-back-down attitude that made Clark famous. Now here's where it gets really interesting. You know how the media's always been talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, right? Comparing them, sometimes even suggesting Reese is on Clark's level? Well, Boston just shattered that narrative. Her performance wasn't just about winning a game. It was about setting the record straight. Look at what she did.
Boston, her numbers from last year drastically dropped. I think she's averaging 13 and 8, but she's still in the National Player of the Year conversations.
And Aliyah Boston seems like the perfect type of superstar for your college team. Like you were saying before, a player who has the capability to put up 30 and 10, but she can also have really impactful games, scoring 10 and 5, and she's cool with it as long as the W comes out of it.
Boston's dominance on the court was like she was confronting all those comparisons head-on. She wasn't just playing basketball, she was making a bold statement, and that statement was loud and clear. Greatness isn't about the hype. It's about consistency, rising to the challenge, and showing up when it matters most. Can you believe the impact Boston had, even with Clark not being there? It's as if she took all the qualities that make Clark stand out, the leadership, the poise, the competitive fire, and amplified them. Boston stepped up in ways that would have made Clark proud, showing everyone that Clark's legacy and that fierce competitive spirit are alive and well. You might be wondering how Boston managed to bring Clark's energy to the game without her even being there. Well, that's the essence of true greatness. It's not about copying someone else's style, it's about embodying the spirit of excellence. Boston didn't just play like Clark. She played like the best version of herself, and in doing so, she channeled the very qualities that make Clark so special.
First of all, watching all of these women with people that aren't on their like regular WNBA season teams, just like have a little bit of like grit, a little bit of just, pushing, shoving, a gamesmanship, but also completely 100% vibing with their teams is the most magical thing. I am like obsessed with that aspect of it alone. And I don't know who else caught it, but that little Jewel Lloyd, Skylar Diggins-Smith moment where you could tell that like, there was definitely some feeling behind.
Caitlin Clark set that WNBA record with a 19 assist game, the most assists in WNBA history in a single game. She has now reached 400 points and 200 assists in 26 games. That is the fastest that someone has ever reached those numbers in the WNBA. Sue Bird did it in 33. Caitlin Clark just did it in 26. It is insane when you think about the fact that Caitlin Clark was playing college basketball 3 months ago, and she was already setting these kind of records and has more 20-point games than all of the other rookies combined. The question was, how long would it take for Caitlin Clark to have a dramatic impact in this league? And the answer has been pretty darn fast.
Also run off a few three-point shots as well. It'd be great to see how Rose decides to use them.
Reese can stretch the floor.
We've talked viewership. Now let's talk about regular season viewership, not draft viewership. Regular season viewership, it grew by 20% in 2023. It's grown by 180% now, which means it would take another 5 or 6 years to do what Caitlin Clark has done. So between draft day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%, between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%, between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%, what Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks.